All right, cool. Let us get started. So, since it's the first lesson of the week, let's do our weekly check-in and have a little chance for us to have a little korero and get to know each other a bit better and build those relationships. So, I'll pick people randomly out to share. So the first one is our random question of this week, which is about popular food items that you dislike. I figure that's always a fun kind of controversy. Person answering that question is Dante. What is, oh wait, can we please listen up? Put the screens at 45. Just gonna wait for the screens to be at 45. Excuse me, 3 in the front. 1, 2, 3. 45, please. Thank you. Benua, 45. Just close it enough so that way it's... Okay. Dante, what is a popular food item that you don't like? Can you think of something? Do you like everything? Easy peasy. All right. I'll pick someone else then. Harlan, what's a popular food item that you don't like? Onions? Onions, I think, are quite a common thing to people who don't like, especially when you're younger. Because I was the same way when I was a kid. I did not like onions. I love that kind of thing. So, like, you don't like onions, but you like onion rings, is what someone said.
Onion rings.
Yes. Do you want to use your toilet back?
Yeah,
you shouldn't be going the first. Please, miss, please. You can't go in the first half hour. You can't go in the first half hour. That's a school rule, I'm sorry.
Is she allowed to?
Nah, I said no. All right. It's always really interesting because sometimes with the food, like, you may not like it one way, but if it's cooked a different way, you might like it. So, like, onions aren't great, but some people will eat and tolerate them as onion rings. I find a lot of things, if you deep fry it, it seems to just be always tasty. For me, the popular food item that I don't like is chocolate ice cream. I know. I feel like you're compromising both on the quality of the chocolate and the quality of the ice cream. So, like, I'd rather have, like, vanilla ice cream or, like, chocolate on its own, but I don't want them combined. It just doesn't taste good to me. All right. Micro goal for this week. Person helping us with that is Denzel. What's your micro goal? What's your micro goal? Micro goal. Like some small little goal you have this week. Doesn't need to be academic.
He said 100 push-ups.
100 push-ups.
Join the basketball team.
Join the basketball team. Yeah, I saw that on the notices. There's like some junior boys basketball going on. All right, anybody have anything they want to share before we move on to our learning journey?
Cool as me.
No, what? All right, cool. Let's talk about this learning journey that we are going on. So can we please keep those screens at 45? That way I know you're listening to me. All right, boys on that table, I need the screens at 45.
Mons.
Play, 45. All right, so last week we learned about classification keys and also the properties of what we consider living. So today we're going to start focusing in and getting some more detail about the living components by looking at plants. And with plants, we're going to be thinking about the structure of the plant as like a general kind of what do we see in plants typically, and also thinking about what functions that structure will then allow the plant to do. Cool. Last thing then is our weekly fakatoki. In this case, we have e koi te tui, I kete te kaka, e kuku te keruru, which is the tui squawks, the kaka chatters, and the kururu coos. The way we can also think about that as it takes all kinds of people. What do you need? Can you just take a seat and I'll give you a note in a second? Okay. All right. So it's good for us to think about the different kinds of people that we are and how everyone contributes to a group, and how we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and together we'll be able to get more done. All right, so today's lesson, we're actually going to flip things around and we'll start with the Mahi choice, because I want you guys to have a chance to do your own sort of self-exploration with the learning, and then I will finish the lesson up with the recap and talk about the plant structure and function. So, on our checklist, we are taking off number 3. So let's make sure our notes are the way they should look. So, what we should have in our notes, first off, is the date. So today is the 9th. And then we should also have our learning attention. So today we are going to explore the structures of a plant. What? Oh, did I freeze the screen, not move it? That was so silly of me. There we go. It was on there for a very long time. All right, explore the structures of a plant. And explain its function. And then our do now for today, we'll just make sure that we have that written down so we know it was just the weekly check-in. All right, so you guys should have that all written in your books. I'll leave that up for a second just to make sure everyone got that. All right, cool. And like I said on our checklist, we go over there. We're looking at number 3, that describing the general. I'll wait till you guys are done talking. All right, we are taking off number 3. I can describe general plant structure and relate its function into, relate that structure into its function. So that is what we are covering today. And we should also tick off the other things if you guys feel ready. Identify something's living or non-living and create classification keys. That's what we've been working on last week.
Last week?
Yep. All right, cool. Let us talk about how you guys are going to be doing that discovery learning, and then I will recap at the end. Mahi choice. And what we have are 3 different categories at 2 different levels. Right, the screen's at 25?
Just go home at 100 online.
Screen's at 45?
I can't go 45.
All right, are we ready for instructions?
Yes.
All right, show me that you're ready. All right, so we have 3 different categories of activities, and we have them at 2 different levels. So there's a total of 6 things on the board, but obviously I don't expect you guys to do all 6. What I want you guys to do is complete 2 tasks. So there's 6 tasks up there. I only need you guys to get 2 done. With the 2, they need to be from different categories. So you can't do both literacy activities. You need to pick maybe a literacy and a creative, or a creative and a hands-on, or hands-on and literacy. But I want you to get 2 tasks done. And with those 2 tasks that you get done, one needs to be an easy level 1, and one needs to be an advanced level 1. So you're trying different things. Are you okay with that so far?
No. Yes.
You want me to repeat it?
No, I'll tell.
Alright, so there are 3 different categories of tasks. There's literacy, there's creative, and then there's hands-on. With each category, there's an easy version, and then there's a more advanced version. I want you to pick one from the easy category, one from the advanced category, and it has to be from 2 out of the 3. So either you do some literacy, you do some creative stuff, or you do some hands-on stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Alright.
creative and creative.
So you can't do creative and
You
creative.
have to do one creative.
You have to do one creative and maybe one literacy, or
One creative.
one hands-on and one creative.
I'm gonna do one creative and one advanced.
Okay? Now, with the literacy one, I'll put the stuff out so you guys can see it. So, literacy, there's 2 choices. The first one is doing this little sparkler sheet to help you guys learn vocabulary and little crossword as well. So I'll put this on the front desk. The advanced literacy task is an article that you read on plant structure, and there's questions to answer on Google Classroom. You can either type up your answers or you can write them in your notebook. That's the literacy task. For the creative task, the first option is a coloring sheet of a capsicum plant.
I'll do that. I'll do that. Me too.
Make sure you glue this into your notebooks. And the other thing I want you guys to do with this creative task is I want you to tell me the roles of these different things that are labeled. So that's. So again, I'll put it on the front table over here. So that, wait for a second so I can get through all the lists. So that's the easy creative task. The advanced creative task is to find a native Aotearoa New Zealand plant to draw and to label. So I want you to label root, stem, leaf, and if it has a flower. Again, same sort of instructions. With those labelings, tell me what the role of those parts of the plant are. So those are the creative one. The last one is the hands-on one. So I brought in some plants from home. And with these plants from home, what I want you to think about are identifying the different parts of the plant. I want you to look at the different parts of the plant, and then once you think you've identified all the different parts, call me over so you can tell me what's what. So that's the easy.
The stem.
The advanced part is actually telling me what you would eat in those different parts. So this is an avocado tree that's starting to grow. So I'll put these on the side so you guys can have a look at them. And that's the hands-on activity. If you're having a hard time reading these instructions for the Mahi choice, they are on my Google site. So you can also open up the Google site and find them. So I'll give you guys most of this period to get 2 out of at least 2 done. If you finish early, go on to complete a 3rd task for the category you haven't done so you can get all 3. So let's say you did literacy and creative, then get the 3rd one done. Alright, I will give you guys stickers for each task that gets completed, and then probably in the last maybe 20 minutes or so of class we'll do a recap, okay? Now, I will allow you guys to listen to music while you work, so long as you have headphones, and so long as it's not loud. So if I can hear it coming out of your headphones, you need to turn it down, okay? So I do, but you gotta give me something for a loan because that's a high price item, okay? Go ahead and get started. There's color pencils down there and things too. All right, so I just want to do a little bit of a recap when it comes to our plants and their function. And just annotate onto the drawing you made or the diagram that you colored in. But I want you guys to get out your notes and make sure this is in there so that way you can remember the structure of the plants. All right, so I'm talking really general structure of plants. So some things to keep in mind when we're thinking about the general structure is we have the stem. Now I'm just doing a really rough drawing.
Yes, yes.
We have the roots. Here's my ground, just so we know that's under the ground.
Yes, we do. It's all for tomorrow.
All right, you should be writing this down in your books to make sure you have it.
Yeah, come. I want to see some. Why is we got 20 more minutes? What time is it? It's 10 more
1:10.
minutes. 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. Let's see who's gonna win. Who's winning right now?
All right, that's my really rough, crude drawing of a plant. All right, shh. Oi, let's listen up. All right, I want science books open so we can write these down. All right, just gonna wait till I see books open and pens in your hands and you are copying down what I have on the board. Then annotate what you have because I'm gonna add a little bit of detail to make sure you guys know all the different roles. All right, so we have the root. That root is there for support and to absorb nutrients and water.
What's the date today, guys?
It also helps anchor it into the ground.
Mine was on the Bible.
All right, next section here is our stem. So our stem's really important again for that support,
The greenhouse.
but also for transport. Some things are going to go up, some things are going to go down. So for example, stuff that might want to go up would be the water we absorb from the roots.
Yes, yes.
All right. Other things we have are the leaves.
The leaves? Yes, the leaves.
So the leaves are important for something that we call photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis? What the heck is that?
So photosynthesis is going to take light energy and convert it into chemical
Chemical reaction.
and store that energy as basically food. So like sugars, for example, various kind of nutrients, different sort of things. That's why we eat a lot of plants, so that way we can get the nutrients, because we can't lay out in the sun and photosynthesize, can we? We can't make our own energy or convert our energy to that. So we rely on the plants to do it. So we eat the plants or we eat animals that eat plants. So yeah, the leaves are really important for that photosynthesis. It converts light into chemical. It does that through something called chlorophyll.
For using
Chlorophyll. All right. Then we have our flower, which is our reproductive part.
Reproductive? Yes, sir.
And that's going to help attract pollinators. Because we want to move that pollen around. And then that flower, if it gets pollinated and fertilized, becomes the fruit.
The fruit?
Yep.
Wow, that's good.
Now with that fruit, it obviously stores nutrients for us.
Add more.
No, you should be writing this down.
Add more.
Gentlemen, I'm going to make you stand and break and write this down. You don't have a...
I've been writing it down.
All right, then you're fine. Yep. So, the fruit protects the seeds. And it's a good source of energy for us.
Oh, I don't have a pencil.
Now, sometimes when we make those chemical energy, it gets moved down and stored in the root such as the carrots. So the carrots, it can also be stored as bulbs, like potatoes, and basically acts as a backup energy source for the plant. So same thing with this seed. If we're looking at this avocado seed that started to grow, the reason why this avocado seed, the reason why this avocado seed has grown is because the seed has stored energy, and so it's able to then sprout and be used later. And that's, we ate the outside fruit bit. Alright, so make sure that is written down in your notes. I'll let that freeze on the screen. Fanua, Josh, I need this written down. Alright. So, I'll leave that on the board for you guys to make sure you have written down. And then I'll recap. Or it's not recap, finish up the lesson. Cool. Alright, can I move it? Can I move the screen? Should I leave it up for a second? So just to do a quick recap of today's lesson, we were looking at describing the general plant structure. So you should be able to name what you commonly see in plants, and you should be able to tell me what the function of that structure is. So that's what we were looking at for today's lesson. You can tick off number 3 if you feel confident on your checklist. Really good work today. Maybe a little less noise next time, but I saw a lot of people getting stuff done, which is what I want. So we're going to get some coffee beans today. Alright. Before you guys go, I need to spray and wipe down my tables. So do that. I'll leave that up. So it's like you guys get to watch an episode of something.